Hi, and welcome to the second of the CAUSEMATCH Pre-Giving Tuesday campaign coaching webinars. In this webinar, we'll talk about the calendar, setting up a calendar, a 2-week plus calendar for Giving Tuesday campaigns, and go through the different tasks and the different time frames for each and every one of those different responsibilities during the course of the campaign. It's really important that in working through this in advance and planning it out, that it's really laid out as best as possible. If you can put it onto a calendar, it really helps a lot. So let's take a look at this calendar in front of you. This is a calendar that is November into December, including the time period of Giving Tuesday. And we'll go through all of the specific tasks involved and really start at the top with the key on the upper right-hand corner. This is an easy way, or it's a helpful way to sort of visualize sort of the layout of the campaign, all the different tasks as they sort of fit into a calendar. If you use any sort of a task management software program, this can also be done there by just simply putting in the tasks and putting in due dates. You'll easily be able to sort of build it there. If you use some sort of a Gantt chart, same idea. And in the Gantt situation, you can also tie tasks one to another. And if something, for whatever reason, is delayed, you'll be able to sort of update automatically everything else. If not, and you want to use a more simple tool and basic tool, so an Excel spreadsheet just like this really does do the job. So if you look in the upper corner on the right, every different kind of task has a different color or color scheme attached to it, and then you'll see it lay out into the calendar itself. And so if you start at the top, donor data, obviously we talked about that in the last session, really getting donor data clean and good before you really begin any of your outreach. Of course, at the same time, key donor outreach, when you're going to be reaching out to your important people, your prior donors, potential donors for this campaign. Same thing for potential ambassadors and peers who are going to be working peer-to-peer. Organizing the team, getting your team, in the right places with the right roles for the campaign, really helpful. You really want to get to that early on. Peer-to-peer outreach, we'll talk more about that, when you want to do that, how you want to do that, and sort of layer that in again into the time frame. Rally events, we'll talk a lot about rally events here today because I think it's important. It's something new that might be of value to you and sort of how to get momentum. Social media posts, any sort of media that you're putting out there to your audience, laying those into the calendar as well. Holidays, I think it's important to sort of be aware of what else is going on in the calendar when you're preparing a campaign. That's true all the time. That's also true here, specifically, obviously, Thanksgiving, which plays a major role in the U.S. In the week leading up to Giving Tuesday 2020. Any sort of a primer email, something that you're sending out, in advance of the campaign to the entirety of your list. A soft launch, which I think is really significant, and then obviously when you go live. So the two things I want to sort of dive in a little bit deeper in here before we go into the calendar itself are rally events and the soft launch. Rally event is an event either informational or motivational for people who are playing a role in your campaign, whether that's volunteers who are working the campaign, or it's people who have taken on the responsibility as an ambassador in your peer-to-peer structure for your campaign. So a rally event is a way to inspire and to motivate and to inform about the campaign and what you're trying to do and getting people further involved in the campaign itself. And it could be that some people are already in and they've taken on the ambassador role and have set a goal for themselves, and they're coming to that event for motivation. It could be also that you're able to invite people to that sort of a session to inform them about the campaign, to excite them about the potential campaign, and then to sort of get them convinced that they can be an ambassador too, and get them to commit to being an ambassador. The rally event has that effect when you're in either a virtual space or an actual space with 50, 60, 100 people, and people are jumping in and they're supporting. It does build on itself. It does create good excitement and momentum, and you can pick up ambassadors that way. It's important to do those kinds of events, and you'll see them in the calendar as it's laid out. Also, another thing that's really valuable and helpful is a soft launch. Soft launch is the idea of reaching out to a subset of your donors in advance of the launch of the campaign. Those aren't necessarily your biggest donors, although they can certainly be part of that category, but you want to say, let's say 20, 30, maybe even 50 if you have a decent sized list of donors that you reach out in a specific way and let them know that the campaign is going live in a few days, and you want to give them the first opportunity to jump in and support the campaign. Now, It's valuable for them because they get in and they get it done and they're out of the way. It's valuable for you for two reasons. One, these people are important to you. They might need a little bit more time to get that donation in because it's maybe slightly larger. Secondly, they feel respected and honored by you taking additional time to reach out to them specifically in advance. They appreciate that you value them and you recognize what they mean to you in your organization. But also, perhaps very important, I would say that another factor that comes into play here is that when your campaign is actually live, if you're able to have some money already in, that's great, because if people are coming to your page when you launch and you have $0 and you're trying to raise 100,000, it can be discouraging for people. And they may not want to jump in. They don't see you as winning or succeeding, and that doesn't work. But if they see already momentum in there, because some of your donors have already supported, if they see some of those names of donors on the donor panel, then it really does engender a good spirit and good emotion. So building a soft launch can be very valuable, and building it for a few days in advance can be very effective. So those are the key things that are going on. So let's jump right in. You're here. It's the middle of November, approximately. You're a few weeks away, 2.5 weeks away from Giving Tuesday, and you're trying to figure out, how am I going to lay this out? Even if you're late to the table in terms of deciding to run a campaign, it's still doable. You just have to be organized and very focused. And so right at the beginning, starting right on the first couple of days, you probably have done this before, and hopefully you have this already, is your donor data or your ambassador data, your potential a group of people who are going to work with you on the campaign, or the people who you're going to be outreaching to for donations during the campaign. So you want to get on that right away, because the better your data, the more efficient your data is going to be during the campaign, the more successful your data will be for you during the campaign. Same thing with your P2P outreach. If you have a set of alumni, service beneficiaries, faculty, board leaders, lay leaders, volunteers who are going to be peers for you, you want to get that set up in advance, again, for momentum's sake, for your confidence, but also to sort of, again, lay out your map and see where are my potential income opportunities here for this campaign. And a good peer-to-peer build can be really powerful, especially if you give yourself enough time in advance to really build towards that success and that program of ambassadors and peer-to-peer. That's already in the first few days, starting already with the 12th of November, and you go forward. Again, depending on when you're starting, you can sort of shift how these different tasks play a role. The 16th, on Monday the 16th, you want to begin really focusing and organizing your campaign day team. What are people going to be doing? What are the different roles that they're going to be playing? Making sure that they've been contacted and that they've committed to those roles, and they understand what those roles are and what the time requirement and investment is of them. Related, but not exactly the same, prep a rally event. As I mentioned before, rally events are good for momentum and energy and excitement and inspiration and building up your base of peers. And so you want to prepare those. They don't have to be more than 30 minutes long, as long as they sort of get the point across, which is what the campaign is about, inspiring about why the campaign is now, informing people about how they play a role and how they can be helpful to you, following up with them in terms of their commitment. So you see in the purple, prep a rally event, in the lighter purple on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, actual event days potentially Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday of the coming week. Any of those days, you can do 1, 2. If you feel like you don't need to do them, then obviously don't spend the time on them if you're not going to do them. At the same time that all that is happening, your leaders should be focused on key donor outreach. Fundamental to success in any campaign at any point is reaching out to who the key donors are for that campaign. If that's your big donors, great. If it's your board leaders, also great. If it's some other subset of accelerator donors, people whose donations for this campaign can really move the progress bar, you want to reach those people in advance. Give them a 2-week window in terms of information about the campaign that's coming up. Giving them the time to speak to them about what's going on in your organization if you haven't spoken to them in a while. Showing them the respect and the honor that they do deserve if they are a key donor for your organization. So planning that out 2 weeks in advance, because those conversations take time to set up and actually execute, you want to give yourself enough time. And so thinking through that first week or next week into the week after about key donor outreach, as long as you really get to those people in advance of the campaign, 5-6 days in advance, It's probably enough time to get them. Also, obviously, keep in mind, when are they normally donating to you during the course of the year? Also going on at the same time is your social media and your general communications with your people around you. So if you're doing a heavy social media, a digital campaign alongside with and accompanying your actual campaign, then you want to sort of start 2 weeks plus or 2 weeks out from the campaign. That's in that teal type color on the bottom, beginning on Monday the 16th. And you really want to begin to put out content that is campaign focused. You want to be regular about the timing of it. You want to be consistent about the messaging of it, but you do want to vary the different kinds of content that you're putting out. It may just be one day a picture with a slight caption underneath it, tagging a couple of people. Next day might be a long form essay about something that's going on. Third day might be a short video from someone on the team or a beneficiary of your program. And then each day, as long as you're consistent with the messaging ultimately related, if there's a hashtag, for that accompanying your campaign, or just simply putting Giving Tuesday, that hashtag down, that's fine. But the more, directed and focused it can be on your organization, the better. But each day doing something in terms of outreach to your larger audience, that could be social media, that could be email. You don't necessarily have to announce the campaign just yet in that first week, but you do want to be habituating and regulating your audience to your content so they know what's coming. Make it interesting, make it exciting, make it something they want to share, something they want to click on and be part of. And so if you're doing that kind of work, again, the more prep you can do, the better. If you have someone who's tasked with it, work with them in terms of organizing what the different posts can be. They can be a blog post, they can be an email, they can be an Instagram post, they can be a Facebook post, it can be text, it can be video, it can be infographic, it can be audio if you have a podcast. Any of those things sort of fit in to your progression towards your campaign. And it's really every day leading up until the campaign. The best time of the day is usually, typically speaking, midweek is the later in the morning. On the weekend, it slightly shifts because people aren't at work. So you have to really check the data that is available in terms of when's the best time for an organization to post. And so you see that week 2, it's a heavy week. That's next week. Organizational team setup, rally events, donor data prep, peer-to-peer outreach, social media, all that going on, and key donor outreach. As you get into about week to 10 days before your campaign, which is the week of the 22nd of November, that's a short week because that week in the US is Thanksgiving. And it's really hard, other than to simply send out sort of a happy Thanksgiving note on Thursday, to really speak to people and get to people on that day. They're spending time with family. Obviously this year might be unique because of Corona and how expansive people's celebrations might be, but I usually appreciate that still a holiday and may not be the day to be reaching out to donors. So you might want to pack in a little bit more in advance. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, key donor outreach. If you're doing rally events, depending on your organization, maybe Sunday night's a good time for a rally event, or Sunday morning is a good time for you to do an event to gather some people together. Those are all important. Same time, your key donor outreach is going on. And also you see on Monday, the 23rd, right therein, a primer email. So it's about a week before your campaign is live. You want to let people know that something big is coming in a week. You can send that out that Monday, you could send it out Tuesday, you could send it out Wednesday, although Wednesday I think is a little close to Thanksgiving. So you might want to be proactive and get it out Monday, Tuesday, letting people know. You can be very specific that a campaign is coming in a week, or you can be somewhat evasive and sort of keep a little bit of the suspense in tow that you're doing something in a week or coming, and people should sort of set their calendars for it as well. So that's what's going on in that week. So you see again, as Black Friday comes in, I put it down as a holiday, even though it's not an actual holiday, but I want people to sort of be mindful, you as an executive or a leader in your organization, that day, besides being a Friday, is Black Friday, it's a Thanksgiving weekend. And so there's not a lot necessarily in terms of outreach that you could be doing, but it is something that you can do. You certainly can spend the time internally reviewing your team for the day of the campaign. One thing that I have layered in now in that second part of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, going into the week of Giving Tuesday, is the soft launch. The ability to reach out on that Tuesday, and whatever method is the most appropriate media for that group, email, text, WhatsApp, phone call, to soft launch your campaign. If your pages are ready and it's up and it looks good and you can get some pre-solicitation done with this group of people, I recommend it. If you can get somewhere between 20 and 30% of your goal from that group, that would be amazing. But really to create momentum, to get people excited, to really feel confident about what's going on, give yourself that space to do that in advance of the launch of the campaign. And as you go through that week, again, always checking back to see how things are going. How did those rally events go? Did you get ambassadors to sign up? Did you get some of your key donors to commit already? Did your soft launch produce a percentage of your goal? What was the open rate on that primer email? Maybe you need to follow up with an additional email to the entire group or to a subset of that group to make sure that they are saving the date on their calendar for what it is that you're doing. And as you move into the week of Giving Tuesday, again, making sure your team is set, everyone knows their roles, what they're doing on the days of the campaign, what their hours are, content that they need, all of those things really important. As you get to Monday, again, it's coming off of Thanksgiving weekend. We do know that the statistics are good. Giving Tuesday is a very successful day for a lot of organizations. So you want to go, quote unquote, live on Monday. Get your hard launch content out, whether that's email, Facebook posts, or all of them, Instagram, everything that you want to do to get people aware that your campaign is going live. And then I would tell you to go live on Monday night. Be preemptive, get ahead of the curve a little bit, give yourself some few extra hours, Giving Tuesday sort of in an expanded version so that you can get live sometime on late Monday or in the evening on Monday. People are back to work Monday. You can get some people to support you already on Monday. Again, it's about momentum, it's about excitement, it's about energy going into the full day Tuesday, because Tuesday will be your biggest day. You will be constantly hitting people with media. You will be thanking people as they give. You'll be inspiring your ambassador group through WhatsApp messages and text messages and phone calls and emails, and you'll be pushing all day. It's an intense environment. It's an intense day. You want things to be smooth. You may want to lay out the day itself in better than I have done here on the calendar, and simply go through what's happening on that day at what hour. If you've decided to do some live streaming on your campaign page or on your homepage or web page, great, or on your Facebook page, that's great. Obviously, in any content that you're sending out to people, make sure that they're aware of the live stream that you're doing. If you can do something like that, and it doesn't take away from your fundraising focus, by all means, go right ahead and do that. And make the day as exciting as possible. Keep people apprised of your progress. Save certain donors for certain points during the course of the day. When you feel a lull coming, you have some money, let's say in reserves that you pre-solicited, drop it in at the right moment, give yourself a little bit of accelerant, a little bit of gas, get people excited again, and then go through the rest of the day. That's the calendar in a very short presentation. Again, as I said to you before, you can always do what's a task timetable by week as well. By week, by day, by task category. Again, I think if you're working in some sort of a task management software, this is probably pretty easy to do for you. I mean, if you're not, this is an easy thing to do here as well in Excel. Just to organize it by week, by date range, by task, and just simply lay them out so everybody knows what they're doing and how they're doing it. What's important also, and I mentioned it here at the end, is this last thing that happens the day after. Thank you is important. Thanking your donors on a regular basis, specifically right after a campaign, is obviously something very important. The more you thank them, and the more you continue to thank them over the course of a week, 10 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, the better that's going to be. They appreciate it. They appreciate being remembered. They appreciate that you think about them, that you're appreciative, and yet your gratitude is there for them and their largesse and their giving towards you. And then obviously there's a longer term thank you strategy in terms of how to turn additional donors into better donors by virtue of building a really smart, ask, thank, report kind of an approach over the course of time. Also keep in mind, the reason the calendar keeps going here is because the end of the calendar year is coming. So if your Giving Tuesday campaign was smaller with the idea of going bigger for December 30th, December 31, that's great. Plan it that way, build it that way, and set it up so that once Giving Tuesday ends, you're focused on what's coming next and that you're already in mode. You can take this calendar and put it on repeat, just change the dates and then you're sort of in mode already for the end of the calendar year when a lot of money does move. A lot of people are donating on December 31. And so it's really valuable to be planned out for that as well. You might build a larger strategy where Giving Tuesday is part one of a larger December strategy that begins on December 1 with Giving Tuesday and ends on December 31 with the end of the calendar year. And so what you have here is sort of a laid out visual version of what the calendar looks like over the next few weeks for you, if in fact you're doing this kind of a campaign. And definitely work with it, definitely look at it, definitely bring your team in on the conversation and discuss with them when things actually fall out for you. When do you actually believe that these things make sense? Maybe, again, you're changing the calendar, you're shifting gears, you're moving things around. That's great. As long as you're communicating with everybody on your team, and as long as you sort of keep the target in mind in terms of the date of the campaign and when things are going to be live, then you should be in great shape. I hope you enjoyed this presentation from CAUSEMATCH, online fundraising, crowdfunding tool that's there for you to help you do more and to raise more good. Look forward to helping you any way we can in the future. Good luck with your campaign on Giving Tuesday 2020.